Damn, who's that cutie in all that linen? That's some good layering. Oh, and that color? Oh, with those earrings? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. Hi everyone, it's Leah with Charlie Darwin Textiles, and I am bearing new sewing pattern joy today. Today is launch day for my new WREN button-up shirt sewing pattern, and I know you're thinking, Leah, there's no buttons on the shirt you're wearing, and that's because this is a very flexible, fluid, button-up shirt jacket situation. I'm gonna explain all that and more today as I talk about what I packed into this new sewing pattern, all the design variations, the story of how it came to be, why it is such an important staple in my wardrobe, and where you can get it, and the sizes, the fabric, all the stuff that you're gonna want to know about this new exciting sewing pattern. It's coming at you right now. And if you already know you want the pattern, of course, the link is in the description below. You can grab it on my website at charliedarwintextiles.com/patterns. The PDF and the printed pattern will be on sale for the first 2 weeks only, so you want to make sure that you go there sooner than later. So let's dive into what is, I think, the maybe 10th or 11th sewing pattern for Charlie Darwin Textiles. And if you're new to Charlie Darwin Textiles, hi, I'm Leah. I am the founder, the pattern designer, the sewist, the too many roles, honestly, for being real about it. This business was born out of my own dream to build up and sew my dream linen wardrobe of a collection of really cohesive mix and match clothing that is plant-based, dyed with pigments from plants, soft on my skin, and just really like both comfortable to wear and also reflective of my values and aesthetic preferences of what I think looks cool and earthy. So that is where the WREN pattern comes in. It really fills a beautiful spot in my dream linen wardrobe. And now that I've really blown out a lot of variations for it, I know that I'm probably going to be making even more of the WREN shirt. All right, let's jump into why I made this shirt in the first place. We'll go back all the way to the beginning of kind of Charlie Darwin and me sewing linen clothing. My boyfriend wanted to get in on this new skill set that I was building, and he requested that I make him like a very traditional button-up shirt with the collar and the pointy pocket and the cuffs on the sleeves. He wanted something that he could wear at the time to work. Now he also wears that button-up shirt plus the 4 others that I have made him. So he now has one for every day of the work week. He wears them to his job, and he also has worn them quite a few times as a wedding guest and has looked quite dapper, if I say so myself, has gotten lots of compliments, which always make me feel like I'm kind of getting the compliment because I made the shirt. But no, he looks really cute in them. And on the flip side of that, after I had made him one, I was like, okay, well now I want one. Now I've developed the pattern for this. Let me make one for myself. And so I made myself a button-up shirt, but I found myself using it in complete opposite use cases as him. I was wearing mine more on adventures, on hikes when I wanted a longer sleeve layer, on bike rides when I wanted to just like protect my skin from getting a sunburn, but I wanted like a lightweight long sleeve layer. And I think that just goes to show the range of what plant-based fibers like linen can do, because they're so durable, but also look so rich at the same time, if you know what I mean. Like they can really go from fancy to outdoorsy in such a beautiful way. So then a few years ago, I had already made myself the one button-up shirt. I was calling that one Lichen Button. And I decided that I wanted a variation of it that was a little bit easier to sew, because that original one I made for us was a little bit more complicated, and so I wanted to add in a variation of it that had fewer pattern pieces, easier seams and construction, but also added a little bit of some of the embellishments and kind of like intrigue that I wanted it to do on it. And so that is when the more modern day WREN shirt was born, where I removed the yoke of the back of the shirt and I added a long spine with the selvage edge of the fabric. I simplified the sleeves so that they were just straight sleeves with no cuffs and a double turn hem. And I took off the chest pocket and I did just a band collar, but I sandwiched in a little bit of a faux fray selvage edge in there. And that was the next iteration, and it started to really click with me how much you can edit and adjust a button-up shirt to fit different vibes. But so then after selling both of these shirts in my made-to-measure shop on Charlie Darwin for about 3 years, I was getting a ton of requests from people who wanted me to turn this into a pattern that you could make at home. Totally understand, because this was one of my favorite ones to sew and wear as well. But getting this opportunity to make it into a pattern is so satisfying, because now I can finally kind of offer and bake in all of the different variations, even beyond what I'd sewn so far. I do this with a lot of my patterns now. Like, I want you to feel a little bit like you get to be the fashion designer by mixing and matching different elements to really create a different vibe with the garment. That way you can also use the pattern a bunch of times over. So let's get into the WREN pattern specifically. What all did I put into this pattern? I blew it out beyond just those original 2 shirts that I made. I made it have 9 different, I think truly 9 different sleeve variations you could choose from. You have your 3 straight sleeve options, a long straight, 3/4 straight sleeve, and a short straight sleeve. Those just have the simple double turned hem on them. Those are the easiest to sew, best for like complete beginners if you want a more simplistic approach, or just a more minimal design because you want to showcase maybe a different element of the garment more. And then if you're feeling adventurous, outside of our straight sleeve options, we have the straight sleeve with a cuff, which has a button placket on it as well. So that's gonna be a little bit more complicated construction, but I promise I tried really hard on the instructions and illustrations for that, as well as there'll be a video tutorial available for you to add on to your purchase. But I just want to preface that that would probably be the hardest part of sewing this, is if you do the cuff with the button placket. You can also do the cuff with the button placket on a bishop sleeve, which is like this, where it's gathered up here and down here at the wrist. And there's 2 variations of bishop sleeve. You could do one with a cuff with the sleeve placket and everything with the buttons, or you can do one like I did, which is just a sort of, it has like a binding on it at the hem to make it nice and clean. And I cut this one out actually at 3/4 length. So if you're like, Leah, that looks a little short on you, that's how I want it. I want a little bit of sexy wrist action out here. But you could also do different lengths of your bishop sleeve. We also have in there a ruffle sleeve, a double ruffle sleeve, and a tiered bell sleeve. And I think that's it. I think that's a lot. I can't say that's it like it's few, but that is all our sleeve options. We have 3 collar or neckline variations that you can see on the one I'm wearing right now. Not to be confused with, I have my Finch quarter button up shirt underneath. This is another pattern I sell on my site, but I found that I love layering it with the jacket version of this new WREN sewing pattern, where I'm doing just the bias bound neckline. I'm not doing any collar with it, and that kind of makes it fun to layer over a collared shirt. Very simple. And again, if you're looking for the most beginner construction technique, I'd say this bias bound neckline is that for you. The other 2 are the band collar, which you can see is very similar to what I do on the Finch shirt right here, and the traditional collar, which I'll put up on the screen. It's the more pointy, normal traditional collar you'd have on a button-up shirt. And then I had a lot of fun adding different pocket styles. So originally I had done, like I said, the pointy chest pocket. I think that has a little bit more of a professional, slightly Western feel, but I'd say just overall like professional look to it. But I also simplified it to have the option for a regular square pocket that I think leans more just simple workwear. And then I added, for if you're doing more of a jacket, I added these waist pockets, which I'm obsessed with. I hadn't done pockets like this lower down on a shirt yet on any of my patterns or my clothing, and I'm really, really liking it. It definitely turns this into more of a jacket vibe. Like, the downside is like, I probably wouldn't tuck this in now, so it was a design choice, but I'm totally happy with it open. I think I'm gonna wear this as a jacket mostly anyway. So it's got this pocket that kind of follows the curve of the bottom hemline of the shirt, and it's nice and big and roomy. Fits my phone. It's perfect. And then also in this sewing pattern, as I've done with my last few, I added in instructions for how to add any ruffles or faux fray details into it. So if you work with linen at all, you might have noticed some of your linen that you buy from the manufacturer, like it has the edges that are bound by the manufacturer, not the ones that are cut by the fabric store or whatever. They have like a nice faux fray on them. It's not always there. Sometimes you just get lucky and sometimes you don't know before you buy it if you're buying online, but it's basically this like faux fray edge. I have a whole video about how to add it into your garments on YouTube, but basically on the back of this shirt, you can cut out your pieces on the selvage edge and create this long, beautiful spine situation. And what I love about that long vertical seam down the back, especially for me at a wee 5'1" is that I do think it helps me look more like long and narrow. In any of the seams, like if you're doing cuffs or if you're doing a collar or whatever, you can incorporate either small ruffles into the collar, like you can see on my Finch top here. You can do that the same on this new pattern. Do little ruffles, do little selvage edge, add fun texture as you go. And one more thing about the design variations, I only put in there like one length to go with, which the pattern testers all said they really like the length of it, especially after you use the height adjustment calculator to know how much to add or subtract from each pattern piece based on your exact length. The height is going to be a rather just like standard, like mid hip length, kind of goes to high hip a little bit at the curved up sides, but that's something you can play around with too very, very easily. You could either level out the entire hemline to be just straight across if you want a more like truly boxy garment, no curves at the bottom. You could also style it differently. So you could tie it up at, I don't know why I'm showing you here. I should just put a picture on the screen. But you could tie it up at the waist and get a little bit more of this sort of boho style here. There's so many options for what you can do with that bottom hemline. And if you're looking for a button up that extends into dress length, then you're gonna actually want my Ladybird sewing pattern. That one has like the proper bodice and skirt, so you could do an above the knee or midi length dress with that one. That's super stunning. But yeah, like I said, I made so many variations because I want you to be able to really make it again and again and mix and match for different functions and really have a different look every time that you do it. Feel like you get to be the fashion designer in the process, not just the sewist at the machine. But I will say, with all these variations, I really encourage you, no matter how many times you make it, to put a little bit of constraints on yourself in the creative process. I've talked about this in previous videos of like a little bit of constraint on either your fabric, your color scheme, if you're using prints, something that basically can constrain what you make to be really cohesive with the other items that you make. So just because I offer a lot of different things for you to play around with, I still want this cool, unique thing that you make to match with all of the other things that you make in some way. So like the whole point of my patterns is that I've made them intentionally that this jacket goes so well with all of my other shirts, with all of my pants, my Olean pants, my swallowtail pants. It could layer over my gypsy moth dress or my Finch shirt. It truly has a lot of mix and matchability, and part of that is because I choose fabrics and colors that go really well with each other. And so I just want to put that out there. That is my plea to you. It'll take you so much further in sewing your dream plant-based or linen wardrobe if you just put a little bit of thought and constraints into those visual design elements so they can go together. All right, let's talk about what's in the pattern, especially for any of you who haven't gotten a pattern from me before or haven't gotten one from me in a long time. They've gotten really good, if I do say so myself. The pattern currently comes in 11 body sizes, sizes 0 to 10, up to a bust of about 53 inches. And it's definitely a more ungendered or gender neutral pattern. As I talked about in the story portion of this video, I make the exact same pattern for me and my man partner. He just is a different size based on his bust measurements. I will say, if you stylistically like something a bit baggier on you, then you really want to check out those finished garment measurements and gauge how much ease or like extra roominess you have in the garment of what that finished garment is going to look like on your body. Just because you will technically fit into a size 7, if you actually love a really baggy, oversized button-up shirt, then you're going to want to size up a little bit and maybe compare it to some other button-up or relatively close shirts that you have in your wardrobe already. I had over 30 pattern testers this time, which is the most I've ever had. I don't know what got into me. I just had so many good applicants this time around, and I was so excited to see what all of them would make, and they didn't disappoint. Thank you so much to my pattern testers. We're gonna have a whole video on them next week showing what they made, but in the meantime, I'll tell you that they ranked this pattern as being somewhere between confident beginner and intermediate. And they ranged in skill level from total beginner to advanced sewist. It's really a choose your own adventure situation, and even some of these more complex parts are still doable for a complete beginner. You've got to try them at some time, so feel free to jump in and give it a go. Which leads me to my next point, that you can get this sewing pattern as a PDF, a print, or a full-blown sewing kit. It is whatever suits your needs in this moment. The PDF is of course the kind that you get the digital download instantly, and then you print it by whatever means you'd like to. I'm going to send you an A0 file, which is large format copy shop, a US letter sized print file, and that's for printing in generally North America, and then an A4 print file is used for generally the rest of the world. And on this one, I'm also including a projector file for all of you projector sewists. The PDF pattern in all of these formats has nested size layers, so you can actually toggle on and off the different sizes. You can toggle on and off the pockets so that you can print exactly what you want and you don't need all of those extra lines on there. I also bake in that height adjustment calculator. We went over that a little bit earlier. That is a tool I give you to calculate exactly how much to add or subtract from each pattern piece, and a full tutorial of how to do that. It's way more simple than you think, and it is definitely worth it if you are not exactly 64 inches, which is what this pattern is optimized for. And all versions of this pattern come with super detailed instructions, illustrations, cutting layouts, a getting started guide, the fabric yardage chart, the finished garment measurements, a sewing terms glossary. There is so much support baked into this that I can't even imagine what more support would look like, if we're being honest. And I just put it all in there for you, so the resources are there and organized when and where you need them. I think really hard about all this stuff, and I think it pays off. People are consistently sharing with me just how good the experience is of working with my patterns, and that means so much to me because life's about the journey, guys. I want it to be a fun experience and a little more painless than painful. If you've seen some of my previous videos, I've talked about how I've literally started crying multiple times while sewing before. It can be a very frustrating hobby at times, and as the pattern maker and designer, I do not want to be the reason you're frustrated. The sewing machine can be the reason you're frustrated, but not me. So I work really hard on that, and I think you'll notice that along the way. One last thing that is included in all of the PDF print and kit is the Darwin's Design Studio app, which has been such a fun addition this year. It's basically like playing with paper paper dolls online with all of my sewing patterns. And because I really want to help you build your dream cohesive linen wardrobe, I built this tool so you can actually pre-mix and match my different sewing patterns and the different design elements of them. It's really fun. So check out Darwin's Design Studio, especially if you're someone who's prone to decision fatigue, or you put off getting started, you procrastinate because you're nervous you're going to make the wrong thing, or you can't visualize ahead of time. This tool is perfect for you. That is linked in the pattern, and you can also find it in the description below. All right, so everyone gets all of that support, but let's say you want to up this experience even more. You do not want to be dealing with the printing or taping of any of these pages together. That is why I offer prints of my sewing pattern so that you can get the printed pattern shipped directly to you on large format paper. All you have to do is cut out your size, and I have a beautiful instruction booklet printed with it that has all of your resources within it, places to take notes. Everything is in color. It's so lovely, and like I mentioned earlier, all of those video chapters from the tutorial are QR code linked at every single step, so you can just look up and watch the video for the step that you're stuck on instead of scrubbing through like a 2-hour long video. And the video tutorial is completely included in the printed pattern. This bundle is called Pattern Pro. The PDF version is called Pattern Essentials. The print is Pattern Pro. It includes the video tutorial, but if you want to do the video tutorial as just like an add-on to the PDF, you can do that as well. And if you want to get an even more grandiose, lovely experience out of this pattern, then I recommend you check out my full-blown ultimate sewing kit for the WREN shirt. It is going to include 3 yards of plant-dyed fabric of your choice. I think I have 9 colors right now. 6 are plant-dyed, 3 are undyed, and they are absolutely lovely pre-softened linen, 100% linen, Oecotex certified fabrics. And 3 yards is enough to do like the most fabric intensive variation, plus have a little bit extra left over. And it may even be enough for you to do 2 of the least fabric intensive. So like 2 of the short sleeve shirts, especially at smaller sizes, you could be able to fit 2 shirts into the 3 yards. Oh, and I can't forget to mention that the sewing kit also includes all of the notions that you will need for this garment. I have wood and seashell buttons that you can choose from. And I'll also be including fusible interfacing if you'd like to reinforce some of your collar and cuff pieces and your button placket area. Totally up to you and optional if you want to add that into your kit. What else? The kit includes all of that other stuff I already said. So it includes the printed pattern, the PDF pattern, all of the supplemental resources. It is everything you will need to get started, plus a cute little Charlie Darwin garment label that you can iron on to the back of your finished garment. All right, I am so excited to see what everyone makes. I already know it's gonna be so good. I can't wait to show you all the pattern tester pictures because I think that inspo is going to blow you out of the water. This is my favorite pattern tester photos I've gotten so far, so I can't wait to share that with you in the next video. I can't wait to see what you make. And when you are finished with your WREN shirt, I highly encourage you to upload some photos and notes about what you made into the Charlie Darwin community photo gallery. It's on my website, and it's just a beautiful non-social media like spot where you can just provide inspiration for other makers based on what you made. You can look at what other people made, and when you post your photo there, you'll get a promo code for a discount on the next thing that you buy from me. So I hope to see you over there. I can't wait to get you the pattern. Remember, it's ready. It's available for you as the PDF, a print, or a sewing kit, available in the link in my bio. The PDF and print are only going to be on sale for the first 2 weeks, and the sewing kits always sell out in the first 2 weeks. So both of those are reasons for you to check it out now while you're here. And thanks so much. I love you guys. I'm so excited for this pattern. Ah! I think it's so cute. Okay, bye.